Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, aka Mazuma TV, back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive night. I hope you had a great day overall, man. I'm back at y'all with some more boxing talk. We're going to be speaking about the debate that had went on between SOG, Andre Ward, and one of the greatest of all time, and Roy Jones Jr. We're going to be speaking about the idea of being God gifted versus coming up off of hard work, and who is in the right between Roy Jones and Andre Ward. But before we get into all of that, if y'all could please hit the like button on the way in, that'd be very much appreciated. We on the road to 4K. We at that 3,600 mark now, looking to hit that 3,700 mark in due time. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible. Shout out to everybody that's in the comments so far. My boy Denitric Banner came through heavy with the with the two-piece. He said, salute on the boxing knowledge. Then he came through with another two-piece and said, and fatherhood. Man, I hear you, brother. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Yeah, I mean, your support definitely goes a long way, man. And it definitely doesn't go unnoticed. So shout out to the brother Denitric Banner. Marissa, what's going on? Shout out to the little sis, Marissa. Sean Terrence, what up? Slime El Tortador, what up? Justin Jackson, what up? He said, just watch the interview. Ward only spoke about the fight for 3 minutes. The rest was Boots criticism. Salute to Roy, though. Yeah, well, we definitely going to talk about that, man, because to be honest with you, man, I love Andre Ward. You know what I mean? He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. He might be top 5, to be honest with you. But I'm going to just call this shit straight down the middle. You know what I'm saying? And, because I understand Andre Ward's mentality. I know exactly how the way he came up. I studied Andre Ward for years. So I know what his approach is, how serious he takes the sport, doesn't cut any corners, just he takes the game very, very serious. But I think what Andre Ward has misconstrued is that he feels like everybody needs to move like him, or everybody has to have the same mentality as him in order to thrive. And that's not always the case. You know what I mean? I'm somebody that is big on individuality, not only in the sport of boxing, but just in life in general. And there's more than one way to succeed, regardless of the mentality that you may have. And what he brought up, things that he brought up about Jaron Ennis was valid. Like those mental lapses, he's definitely going to have to tune up, especially when going up against stiffer competition like a Virgil Ortiz. Because, yeah, Xander may have more skills than Virgil Ortiz, but I think it's safe to say that Virgil Ortiz is the more dangerous opponent in terms of what he brings to the table. And Boots likes to take chances. And when you have somebody dangerous like Virgil Ortiz in front of you, yeah, you definitely got to tighten some shit up, bro. You got to take this just a little bit more serious. Can't afford to just be having the hands down and being all show, tapping in too much to the showmanship. Like I said yesterday on the live that I had last night, I want Boots to bring more of a technical approach. You can still be flashy. You can still be yourself. You know what I mean? I'm big on individuality, but at the same time, when the stakes are high, and you in these big fights, and if you winning those type of fights could elevate you on a pound for pound list, solidify you as a Hall of Famer, and possibly become an all-time great, adjustments have to be made. And, I had somebody come through yesterday and ask if, Boots needs somebody added onto his team. And I said, no, because the adjustments that he needs to make is within himself. You know what I mean? It's not a skill set thing, because Boots definitely showcase skills. It's not a defense thing, because even though he had gotten hit by Xander Zayas, he still shows some sound defense. You know what I mean? Like, respectfully, Xander Zayas had one moment in the third round, and I think that Boots is put on such a high pedestal. So many people expect so much out of him that they're talking more about the third round than the fifth, the first, fifth, and the seventh round, where Xander got stopped in. So, I get it, but, I think Andre Ward is a bit, I'm not going to say overly critical, but there are guys that he is close to, that he's good friends with, that have fucked up in fights or under-delivered in performances, and I've never heard him be this critical. I've never seen Andre Ward this animated. Andre Ward is a pretty reserved type of guy. You know what I'm saying? He don't even curse. Like, he's the fucking textbook definition of a professional. You know what I mean? There's a lot to admire about Andre Ward. Very religious man. You know what I'm saying? Very at peace. He's just a real cool dude. But I ain't gonna lie, when I was listening to the back and forth between him and Roy, it seemed like Andre Ward was getting a bit out of character. I'm hearing Andre Ward slam his hands on the table. I'm hearing his voice elevate just a little bit. I'm like, where is this passion coming from? You know what I'm saying? Like, where is this passion coming from? Since when Andre Ward been so ready to jump out of a window with an opinion? You know what I'm saying? Because, for instance, Andre Ward is real close to Shakur Stevenson, right? Very, very close with Shakur Stevenson. Was his manager at one point in time. They both have, similar career moves and having Jay Prince as their manager. You know what I'm saying? He's been with Shakur Stevenson his entire career. Even after he stepped back as a co-manager, he still continued to support Shakur. But I've seen Shakur underperform several times throughout his career. There was times where I expected him to do more, and he didn't do exactly what we expected him to do. A lot of us felt disappointed. A lot of people, a few of us felt like he underperformed, and I never heard Andre Ward come out his skin to had that type of criticism about Shakur Stevenson. Not saying that he don't keep it real with Shakur. You know what I'm saying? But I just found it crazy that there was times where Shakur Stevenson underdelivered in fights. You can make a case that he underdelivered in the Teofimo Lopez fight. Did he win convincingly? Yes. Did he win in dominant fashion? Yes. But there was definitely more that he could have done. Shakur Stevenson admitted it himself. And there may be elite level opponents that Shakur faces in the future where you're gonna have to do more. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to step on the gas a little bit more in order to complete the mission. And I didn't hear Andre Ward jump out of his skin and bang his hands on the table and get all animated when critiquing Shakur Stevenson's performances. Now behind the scenes they may be doing something else, but it's just crazy that when it comes to Jaron Ennis, that was all they seemed to really focus on. They didn't talk about Jaron Ennis's, accuracy in the fight. They didn't talk about his jab. They didn't talk about how well he boxed, his precise punching. They didn't talk about, his body shots. I see Roy bring it up. Shout out to Roy. I didn't see them talk about his ability to finish the fight. You know what I mean? There was a lot of things that Boots did well in the fight, but what they're doing is they're over magnifying the one slip up that he had. And I'm sure Andre Ward is coming from a great place. You know what I mean? I don't think he's hating on Boots. I'm not going to call him a hater or nothing like that, but this energy does seem a little bit different. You know what I mean? This energy does seem a bit different, coming from Andre Ward in comparison to criticism that he had in the past about, other fighters. I actually hear him be more reserved about his opinion when it comes to, fighters that he's close with. And I just find it ironic that, Andre Ward, who is actually close friends with Terrence Crawford is throwing shade at Jaron Ennis, after the fight. And then, it just seems like Andre Ward follows up and, isn't necessarily throwing shade at Boots, but I do think that he was dragging that third round just a little too much. You know what I'm saying? I do think that he was dragging that third round. Like there was so much more that happened outside of that third round. Why wasn't Boots' ability to recover from being rocked not being discussed in that conversation? Why wasn't it being acknowledged that Boots was still sticking to his plan, ripping shots to the body and actually hurt Xander at the end of that third round? Why was that not being discussed? Why are we so pressed on speaking about the only vulnerable moment that Boots had in that fight? Why are we not talking about the vulnerable moments that Xander Zayas had several times throughout the fight? You know what I'm saying? So I just found it very weird. I'm gonna play it and we're gonna react to it. And it's a pretty long video. I ain't gonna lie to you. So we gonna we just gonna be sitting, we gonna be discussing, and I want to know exactly what y'all think, man, because I'm seeing what y'all saying. My boy Empty the Clip is in the building. Eric Dallas is in the building. He said he's a fucking hater, period. It's the Boots effect. God damn. Empty the Clip said Ward only that animated because he's Bud's homie. Woo. Oh yeah, y'all right at Andre Ward today. You know what I mean? Slime said, real shit, the day Shakur loses is going to be a great sunny Sunday after the fight. Damn. Justin Jackson said, Ward want Boots to get dropped and have close fights like he did. Damn. Burberry, he said, son of a goof. That's crazy. That's crazy. I ain't gonna lie, that's a little disrespectful. It Pop passed away. That's kind of crazy. Burberry said, "Hey Mark, did you see Ward say that Xander was a smaller man than Boots? If he did say that, then I ain't gonna lie, I totally disagree with that. You know what I'm saying? Like I was in the building, I seen Xander's eye. You know, Xander was wider than Boots. You know what I'm saying? And he may have been heavier than Boots. So how could you say that Boots is bigger than him? You know, Xander done had a hella fights at 154. This is Boots' second fight in the division. So I think that's a bit of a stretch, to be honest with you. Ward was knocked down by Kovalev most, and I think you meant to say Kovalev and Darnell Boone. Didn't Ward pick Xander to win? I don't know. Did he? Somebody do some research on that. Did Andre Ward pick Xander to win? If he did, then that sign is kind of corny. Ain't no way you picking somebody to lose, and then when they actually win, you still finding a way to nitpick and criticize them out. I don't know. Maurice Terry said, "I did make a creative player yesterday, but you think Devin has power at 147?" We not talking about Devin today. No disrespect, but just to answer your question real quick, I think he got solid power. I don't think he's this knockout artist or anything like that, but he got respectable power. It definitely ain't the type of power that you just gonna walk through or think that you just gonna be you're gonna have an easy time with. You know what I'm saying? No. Bray said he about to check. All right, bet. Ain't no Kenny K9 Street, a white boy. Who the fuck is that? I don't even know who the fuck that is. I don't even know who that is. You're gonna have to educate me, brother. He said, "Son of a goof" is funny as fuck. Yeah, Justin Jackson, a bid for sure. Boots is definitely not undersized. He's definitely not undersized for 154. If you ever seen Boots in person, you would not say that. I think as he continues to mature at the weight, he'll look significantly bigger. I don't think he's at his full potential at 154 yet in terms of his frame and all of that, but he's definitely not undersized for 154. You know what I mean? He was a big welterweight, so how can he just be a small 54? It don't even make sense. Oh, you driving? Or that boy Eric always driving. But anyways, let me go ahead and share the screen. Let's get into this conversation between Roy Jones and Andre Ward. Because I ain't gonna lie, it wasn't necessarily heated, but this definitely was the most animated back and forth that I've ever seen between these two. So let's get into it.
Second thing, when you out there, for people that have a big bag, if things start going your way too quick, like it did for Boots, you have a little bit of a mental letdown. You don't feel like you gotta stay. This dude here, he can't beat me. So it's like I did the same thing. I knew Lou Delbert couldn't beat me. I had a mental lapse and wham, he caught one a good shot. Down I went. I got him and beat the hell out of him afterwards, but I got a mental lapse because it was so easy. It's like it wasn't taking real thought to me because I had sparred with him so many times. I knew everything he does. And he knew everything I did, but he couldn't stop what I did. So it was a mental lapse because I was so calm and so comfortable having my way. And then bam, he woke me up. When he woke me up, I had to go back to work again. That's what happened to Xander this weekend. Xander was so comfortable. He had to drop him in the first round. He was doing whatever he wanted to do the second round. He felt like this was in the bag now. So his senses went down a little bit. When your senses go down, that's when you're vulnerable. But when you fight somebody like a James Toney, like when I fought James, my senses couldn't go down not 1 second in not one round. Because
this is why I need more boxers to be commentators. This is exactly why we need more former fighters, former world champions to have these type of podcasts, because when you could pull from firsthand experience, it just makes your talking points really hard to defeat, man. You know what I mean? Like, I love this shit right here. I love what Roy's talking about.
I'd have been asleep. Because James is out there trying to get you out of there all night long. And you know that. So if he was fighting somebody like a Earl Spence or a Bud Crawford or a Canelo Alvarez, he wouldn't have them same lapses. And he wouldn't have them same lapses because he'd be too busy in the chess game trying to win and trying to figure out what's next or where the next one coming from. When you're on that level, when you get in that chess game like that, it's a different level of defense. You understand? People can catch you slipping once you feel like you got him and you ain't worried about it no more. And Xander is a little bit bigger than people think he is too. So I knew Xander, if he did hit him, it was gonna be problematic because Xander's a big dude for 154. But like I said, that only happened because his spider sense went down a little bit once he felt like he was in control. And I know just from watching him, I know that's what happened because I've seen that happen to myself. When you get in control, your senses go down a little bit. Now it's not, oh my goodness, I got to be on point no more. No, it's like, oh, I got it. That's over with. And that's what he felt like. Then wham, he got caught. So I don't think his defense is that big of a problem. Matter of fact, the guy he fought from over there in Spain, I don't remember his last name, but that guy was a hell of a puncher too. Never could lay a glove on Boots. Couldn't put a glove on Boots, but he was known as a puncher. A knockout guy that most people had avoided. A lot of these guys in the welterweight division had turned that Stanionis or whatever his name was. A lot of these
Stanionis is not from Spain, so I was kind of confused. I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But that's a good example.
these guys over here turned that guy down. They didn't really want to fight him because he was too big of a risk, but not enough of a name. Boots took him to school. I mean, took him to school. He could not lay a glove on Boots because he was at that. Boots had him senses heightened because that was another level for Boots. So I think when it comes time for Boots to do what he needs to do, he can pick the defense up. It's just a matter of keeping the spotted senses on or not.
Man, I hear what you're saying, and I think you.
Roy definitely cooked with that take right there, because not only did he provide some, not only did he say exactly verbatim what Jaron Ennis said in the post fight press conference, but he says, "Bro, like I understand what he's talking about because I've been through it. I went through it with Lou Duval. You know what I mean? I thought that was going to be smooth sailing until I got hit. I went down. When I got up, I knew it was game time. I had to go ahead and step on Lou Duval. You know what I'm saying?" And Boots, what's crazy, Boots didn't even go through that severe of a situation. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, so like he's pulling from firsthand experience. Like, yo, I know for a fact that's what he went through. I know for a fact that that's what he's saying is the truth because I could relate to that. And Boots and Roy and Jaron Ennis are similar fighters in terms of having that God-gifted ability, having that generational type of athleticism, explosiveness, power. You know what I'm saying? To the point where they could step away from the fundamentals and still be effective. They could make mistakes and still be dangerous, and still find ways to be successful in the ring, pretty much going against the rule book of boxing. We seen both of these guys do that. I think Roy did it a little bit more than Boots. I think Boots was more technical than Roy, but regardless, you can make a case that Roy Jones was in a class of his own, a different type of athlete, even a greater athlete than Jaron Ennis, more God-gifted than Jaron Ennis. Whatever you want to call it, both of them are cut from the same cloth. So Roy already knows what Jaron Ennis is going through or what he has experienced because he's been there before, and they have similar type of approaches to the ring. Roy Jones was a showman. He was flashy, fast hands combinations. Roy could do just about everything. You know what I'm saying? So he knows firsthand what Jaron Ennis is going through. Now, Andre Ward is the complete opposite. And he's going to show you that because, Andre Ward wasn't always, I wouldn't classify Andre Ward as this God-gifted fighter. I mean, like he may have been the son of God, but he wasn't a God-gifted fighter, in my opinion. When you look at Andre Ward's physical attributes, he had short arms for being as tall as he was. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the quickest. He didn't have the biggest power. But what Andre Ward did was work harder than no other. Stay a student to the craft. Take the game serious. You know what I mean? Not cutting any corners, not bullshitting, giving the game everything he had, perfected his craft to the best of his ability, and him taking the game so serious and having like a militant approach to each and every fight that he had, where even whether you were 12-0 or 0-12, he was locked in on you. He treated every fight from his pro debut to his last fight with Sergey Kovalev. He treated everybody as if they were a Hall of Fame type of fighter, a world championship level fighter. So we're about to hear a completely different perspective from somebody who wasn't God gifted, in my opinion, like a Roy Jones or a Jaron Ennis. They had to come up the hard way. They had to get their wins. They had to develop their craft the hard way. Nothing, there wasn't anything that God gave him that was just going to make him, this climb to the top quick. No, he had to build himself up brick by brick. You know what I mean? Whereas people like Roy Jones and the Jaron Ennis, just being themselves. They already got half the structure built without even putting any ounce of work into it. You know what I'm saying? So we're about to hear Andre Ward's perspective. So let's hear it.
You're right in terms of what can tend to happen and what did happen, but you gotta tighten that up.
When you fight an elite fighter, though, it's almost impossible to tighten up much more than that, because when he was tight, when he was doing his thing, he wasn't getting touched. He didn't start getting touched till you relaxed. So it's like it's hard to tighten it up any more than that.
Nah, my thing is, and I always had this mentality: if you ain't on my level, I'm gonna show you not on my level.
That's what he was doing. That's why, but it was so easy. That's why it was so easy. Once he did that, it was so easy to him.
Like, if you catch me and you earn it, I'm gonna give you that. I got to tip my hat. That's my fault. That shouldn't have happened. Even when I got dropped by Kovalev, I'm like, yeah, that shouldn't have happened. I'm not supposed to be on that canvas. But if I do it because I had a mental lapse, that's on me.
That's true. That's true. That's on me. That's true. But when you like I say, it's hard to explain. But when you got a bag, and Boots has a bag, I know Boots has a bag. When you got a bag full of stuff, you trying to put all your stuff on the table. Sometimes it's gonna happen because you got so much stuff you throw on the table. Sometimes it's gonna happen, and that's what Boots was doing. He got so much stuff to throw on the table. Sometimes it's gonna happen. So when we got so much stuff to go through, that's gonna happen sometimes. And he's one of those guys. He got so much to throw on the table that sometimes stuff gonna happen, because he got. If he didn't have that, if he was just I'm gonna do it this way type guy, he could play that safe game and not get it, because he got that in him too. He can go in the field of shell and do what he want to do. He slips, he bobs, he does it all. He has great defense when he wants to use it. So it's like, I don't think it's a problem that got to be fixed. I think he just got to make sure he stays mentally intact, because I think it's fixed already. When he fought, like I said, Steone's the guy that nobody else didn't want to fight. When he fought him, he couldn't touch him.
But this is my point, though. So because Boots has not been able to get elite competition in the ring with him for whatever reason, he's fought a certain level of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody he's fought in the last 10 years, he went in there knowing, I'm way better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Over that time period, you start to develop bad habits. Mm-hmm. I don't care if that bad habit is for 30 seconds of each round and every fight that you have. That 30 seconds could be your kryptonite when you face that elite guy. That mental game is not a switch you can turn on and off. That thing, that you got to get that locked in. You don't get no free shots on me. That's the elite mindset. Oh, this dude ain't on your level, and I'm about to show you not on my level. He ain't gonna touch me. Now I might get touched because it's boxing, but
he's not going to touch me. But he is going to touch me because it's boxing. See, this is what kind of throws me off about Andre Ward. Like, I understand where he's coming from, right? He's like, yo, like, you got to tighten that up. You got to have that elite level mindset that a motherfucker got to work. You got to work to enable in order to hit you, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's true. You know what I mean? I think that type of advice could be very helpful for somebody like Jaron Ennis. But for one, I don't really understand where this criticism is coming from. Well, I'm going to say this. I don't even know why he's reiterating this point, because Jaron Ennis made the point himself already. He's well aware of the situation. He said he got a little bit lazy, you know what I mean, had a little mental lapse. He's going to go back into the gym, and he's looking to perfect it. You know what I'm saying? So he's letting it be known, yo, I know I did something wrong. I'm aware of it. I'm going to go back. I'm going to watch my fight. I'm going to see what I can learn off of that film. I'm going to go back into the gym, and I'm going to work on it. This is something that Jaron Ennis said. YSM Sports Media just dropped the interview today. You feel what I'm saying? He just dropped the interview today where Boots was like walking out, going to his car, whatever the case is. And he's like, yo, I know I fucked up. You know what I'm saying? He gave himself a C+. So he's being hard on himself as it is. Because I didn't look at that as a C+ performance at all. But I guess Jaron Ennis, in his mind, he knows he's a lot better than that. You know what I mean? He knows he could have possibly avoided that moment in the third round. So he's going to go back into the gym, work on it. You know what I'm saying? And try his best to be the most complete version of himself possible. So, Andre Ward is like, yo, like, this is a mental lapse that he has. He has to fix this. He doesn't care if it's for 30 seconds in each and every round, but that's just something that he has to fix. All right, cool. But you know what I'm saying? I just feel like Andre Ward, I don't really feel like this criticism is really fair, because at the end of the day, there's no such thing as a perfect fighter, right? Yeah, I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect fighter. So there's gonna be moments where a fighter doesn't do the right thing at the right time. We humans, we fuck up at the end of the day. But it's like I said, I never heard him be this critical. Did you see him smacking his hands together? He animated, like he really in his bag right here. So he's hell bent on this topic, obviously. Naja said it's not something that could be fixed. It's just his mindset. When he goes defensive, he has good defense. Yeah, and that's the thing. Andre Ward was I guess you would say, a defensive type fighter. You know what I mean? He didn't really, take unnecessary risk in the ring, or at least he didn't take, you know, he played it safe a lot of the times. You feel what I'm saying? Like Andre Ward, if it was time for him to get gritty, he'll get gritty, maul you on the inside, whatever the case is, he's capable of doing that. Andre Ward was a dog. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? He didn't have Boots mentality. So that's why I feel like when he sees Boots mentality, he see him taking chances and, gambling, basically gambling in the ring. That's a red flag to him, because from the school of boxing he came from, he's not in it to, gamble. You know what I mean? I think he comes from that mindset where, take the safer route, I guess you would say. But let's continue.
He has to work on that. That's not just for Boots Ennis. That's for any elite fighter. You can't touch my chin because I go to sleep. Why I'm going to sleep? I'm in a professional boxing ring with thousands of people in this arena and millions of people watching around the world. What I'm sleep for?
He wasn't going to sleep, I don't think. And like I said, had he been ain't that with somebody else.
And I said that moment when he got caught, that was an exchange.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shifting from.
Oh shit! I hope that they don't. Let me put this right here.
That one particular moment to the talk around him having mental.
What that hook that buzzed Jaron Ennis, it was while he was in the middle of a combination. So that's a 50-50 exchange, to be honest with you. Dane Father said he was playing around. No, look, so Xander Zayas threw a 1-2 while Boots was coming in with his offense. He got hit with the 1-2. So now Boots is stepping back in to throw another combination. He gets into another 50-50 exchange, and Xander gets the better of it. That's why it's called a 50-50 exchange. There's a 50% possibility that this guy might get the better of this exchange. There's a 50% chance that you may get the better of the exchange. We won't know until it happens. But I don't know, man. Like, anybody could get hit with a good shot during a 50-50 exchange. Is he not supposed to punch with his opponent? Like, I don't understand. Is he supposed to just wait until his opponent gets shots off? Get his shots off until he shoots something? Bella Faith said Boots said himself that he was being lazy. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, I know. And I mentioned that. And, that's why I feel like, Boots is aware of it. He knows what he did wrong. And he reassured us that he's going to go back into the gym to fix it. So Andre Ward reiterating his point and just focusing on this the whole time is what's making me feel like he's being overly critical. And I do think that he's being a bit unfair with his assessment. Like, that's just me. You feel what I'm saying? Like, God forbid a motherfucker make a mistake in the ring. I don't know, man.
That moment when he got caught, that was an exchange. I'm shifting from that one particular moment to the talk around him having mental lapse. I'm on a mental lapse as a whole. That moment was an exchange.
That's two different things. You can look at that two ways. It could be a mental lapse, or it could be, like I said, it could be him got so much stuff in his bag. They was trying so much stuff because he was having fun. It was easy to do it. He might have went a little bit too far. Who knows? It's like sometimes because we want, and he was at basically almost in his backyard too. His fans drove right there to see him. So he wanted to show him he could beat him left-handed, he could beat him right-handed, he could beat him in the kind of way he wanted to beat him. So to me, he was out there just putting his stuff on display, doing what he wanted to do. Then he got caught because he probably was doing a little too much. After that, he didn't get caught no more. So,
elite guys, standard is here. It's right here. It's not here. It's not here. It's not here. It's here. And I believe that he understands this because he said this in the post-fight press conference. I'm not giving you nothing, man. I'm not giving you nothing.
He wasn't trying to give him nothing. The boy took it. He wasn't trying to give him nothing. The boy took it.
In that moment. But I'm talking about the mental lapses. Boots said I went to sleep. All I'm saying is is whether you in the gym, you're gonna get hit, stuff is gonna happen. You're gonna get hit in fights, stuff is gonna happen. But you're not going to hit me because I fell asleep. That's the point that I'm making. You catch me in an exchange, you set me up, I don't see something coming. I thought you was out of range, but you was in range. That's part of the game. I'm not talking about that.
You know what he mean by fall. You know what he mean by fall asleep? You know what he mean by fall asleep? He turned the go knob off. He had the go knob on, and he put it.
Bro, you can't do that.
But he thought he could.
You wasn't supposed to do that with Lou DeVal. Lou DeVal wasn't supposed to do that.
He thought
not to you.
He thought he could because he had on cruise control because it was so easy for him. So he thought I could turn on cruise control now because it's easy. And a lot of fighters make that mistake. That's just what happened. That's the only thing that could happen. It was so easy.
Only time we can cruise is when I get up out these ropes and I'm walking back to that locker room. That's the only time I turn my go button on.
When sometimes you put when you elite and know what you're doing, some guy put it on cruise control. That's how they get caught. And I know
you wasn't supposed to do it. I'm not supposed to do it. He ain't supposed to do it. No elite fighters are supposed to go to sleep in the ring. We've been sleeping, and drinking this moment. Okay. I've been suffering for this moment. I've been sacrificing for this moment. No, ain't no going to sleep.
Okay,
that's dead. And that has to start in the gym.
When you get so easy, when it gets so easy for you, when it gets so easy for you on this level, it's like. You have to be careful because you can't fall asleep. Especially fighting guys that you think are beneath you. Now, guys you think is your level above you, you ain't going to sleep on him. But when guys are beneath you,
that need to change, bro.
It probably need to change. It probably do, but it's a hard thing to change. What I'm trying to tell you.
I'm stepping anybody.
That's a hard thing to change.
How though? How's it a hard thing to change when you in the gym repping this kind of stuff? Because the punches you get hit with in the fight is the punches you getting allowed to get hit with in sparring.
No, the fight I ain't get hit with nothing in sparring.
I'm gonna keep it real. Dre, that's how I know you're not tapped in with Boots, bro. Because anybody that ever seen Boots spar, that nigga do not be getting hit. Like, he definitely don't be getting hit in sparring. So I never seen Boots get punched in sparring. I mean, that's definitely not always true. So this is where it's like you making assumptions right now, and you don't even know what you're talking about. You only ever come to Philly for interviews and shit like that, business ventures. You don't ever come over here and see what niggas got going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy.
Because I'm so sharp in sparring, because I ain't finna let no sparring partner lead that think he can whoop me, so ain't no sparring partner finna touch me, because I'm gonna stay sharp.
And that's supposed to translate in the ring. You're not touching me with that.
We didn't mean them to touch us. It's just that we probably had a little of a lapse where we thought, well, this is easy. Let me try this. And before we got to mind what we gonna try next,
ain't no lapses, Roy. Ain't no lapses.
It happened though. It happened to me. It happened to him. It happens.
Andre Ward is acting like he just has been 100% from the field when it comes to just staying focused in the fight. Like I don't believe that shit, bro. I don't. Bro, Ward done got hurt so many times. You mean to tell me that you was fully focused and was well aware of what was going on when you got buzzed with that one shot, when you got hurt by Darnell Boone, when you got dropped by Sergey Kovalev? Like, you never had a mental lapse in there. Like, God, bro, I don't get it. Like, I hear what Andre Ward's saying. What he's saying is real, but he's acting like he's just the exception to the rule. Like, man, you can't have no lapses in there. You know, you can't do that. You know, the only time you're supposed to turn it off is when you walk into the locker room. True. What you're saying is true. But out of the 32 fights that you had, you mean to tell me that you've been locked in 100% of the whole time? Like, I don't know. I don't believe that. I don't believe Andre Ward never had a mental lapse in the ring. That's just me.
It happens.
You set me up and you outwit me, you outskill me, you outpunch me. That's different. I want to make that clear. I'm not saying you never gonna have rough moments.
Some people call it that, but
it's a bunch of landmines. It's not if you're gonna step on it, it's when and how.
Exactly right.
So I want to take that off there. I'm not saying that's not gonna happen. I'm talking about giving any elite fighter. He took his foot off the gas. It was too easy.
It was. He had an easy first round, and easy second round. It was too easy. That's obvious. I already know what it is. I'm looking at it. Just not watching the fight.
That is
When
a
I saw it,
problem
when
that
I
needs
saw
to
it, I
be
know it's
fixed.
easy.
You don't
No,
fall asleep against the wrong guy, and we having a different discussion at the end of the fight.
you know how you fix that problem? Tell some of the top guys to fight you. I guarantee you won't go to sleep then.
No,
Tell the top
nope,
guy.
that's not how you
Tell the top guy to fight him. I bet you won't go to sleep then.
Nope.
I guarantee
Nope,
you.
that's not how you
I guarantee you.
You know how you
Put the top
You know how
guys
you
in the ring
fix
with him. I guarantee you
make
won't go to sleep.
sure and sparring
Put the top guys
and
in the
training
ring with
and
him. I
sparring,
bet you won't go to sleep.
and I see you
guarantee
get touched, and I see you go to sleep and
guarantee you won't go
sparring.
to sleep.
Hey man, hey, check this out. We ain't doing that today.
That never
Every
happened to me.
single day
That never happened to me.
Right.
That never happened to me. But 4 times sparring, I never got caught with that left hand that Devere caught me with until I got in that fight. It was a good shot. I got, like I said, I got lackadaisical. He caught me.
We can't have that.
We had it.
I ain't giving. We can't have that. It happens, but we not. The standard is here.
I understand what the standard is, but also, like I said, Boots is a little bit outside the standard. Boots doing more than most people doing today, and Boots don't care about who you fight, and Boots ain't ducking nothing to nobody. So Boots is actually going above and beyond. He giving you so much stuff. He throwing 6, 7, 8 punch coming. Boots doing it all. Boots putting it on the line for you. So yeah, he might get caught being lackadaisical because he got a deep bag.
Satisfied. We want to be satisfied with where he at.
You never be satisfied. You never be satisfied.
Listen,
you never
if
be
Boots
satisfied.
Ennis,
You never be satisfied. All Boots got to do is be focused. 12 rounds.
The all-time greats, that mental lapse stuff gotta clean up.
All you gotta do is fight better fighters, and that'll happen.
So he just gonna flip the switch and just
he fight better fighters. He fight better fighters. That won't happen. If he didn't beat that boy, if he didn't beat him, if Xander gave him a harder time in round 1 and round 2, that would not have happened. But because it got so easy for him, he thought, well, I could do anything now. So
Yo, I agree with Roy 1,000%. I'm sorry, man. Like I hear what Ward is saying. Like I really hear what Ward is saying, but like I think Ward is like, I don't know, man. Like I said, I think he said the standard's here. It's not here. It's not here. It's here. Like I understand the standards there, but it's like it's just something that's not clicking with Andre Ward, and it's because he don't come from the same cloth as a Roy Jones. You know what I'm saying? Like Andre, Jaron Ennis has always been compared to Roy Jones. I've been hearing the comparisons for a long time, and it's because they have their generational type of talents. Andre Ward, very skilled, but like I said, he had to build himself up to be as great as he is. God didn't, God may have gave, everything that Andre Ward has ever stated, he said he had to build up his mental strength. You know what I'm saying? His skill set, his ring generalship, his experience, like a lot of the things that he's done, he's really had to grind to get every single thing he had. Guys like Roy and Boots didn't really have to go through all of that because they had so much natural ability. They just put some hard work behind it, and they ended up becoming who they became. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like it's not clicking at Andre Ward's head where Roy is coming from because he's never done what Roy's done. And Roy, like somebody said in the comments, damn, I lost it. Like Bella Faith said, Roy sees himself in Boots, so he knows exactly where Boots is coming from. He knows Boots' exact mentality because they have similar approaches in the ring. You feel what I'm saying? Dank Father with another great point. This is exactly what I was trying to say. He wasn't blessed with the gift, so he had to be damn near perfect. And that's what Andre Ward shoots for each and every time. If you ever seen him shadow box, seen him hit the bag, whatever, even when he's in the ring, he's looking to pitch 100. He's looking to shoot 100% from the field each and every time. Anything less than that is unacceptable to him. So he said the standard's here. So you have to perform to that standard, and you have to do whatever the fuck it takes in order to get there. Anything less than that, you will be held accountable for doing so. So I like the fact that Andre Ward thinks of Jaron Ennis that highly, that he wants him to be the standard that everybody believes that he fits. However, not everybody takes the same approach like you do, Andre Ward. Not everybody has the same mentality as you. Not everybody has set, is that hard on themselves. You feel what I'm saying? Boots is well aware of what's going on. He said he told you exactly what the reasoning was. He held the L for that. He gave himself a poor grade as a result of that. You know what I'm saying? And what he's saying isn't necessarily wrong, but it's just you could tell Roy Jones' perspective isn't really clicking with Andre Ward. You could tell it's kind of frustrating him. You could tell it's kind of frustrating him because he can't understand it. You feel me? Because he's so accustomed to doing things one way. When you bring up a different idea, because they're clearly clashing. They going back and forth. Roy is presenting a different idea, and it's so unfamiliar to Andre Ward that he deems it as being the wrong approach when reality is just a different approach. And I do think that if Jaron Ennis was the face of Virgil Ortiz or the face of Sebastian Fundora, I think Boots would tap into a different level. I do think that he would take a more serious approach. Why? Because these guys are who a lot of people say is at the top of 154 pounds. Xander Zayas, young, up-and-coming kid. Boots was calling him a kid the whole lead up to the fight, and he said that he's seen his style many times. So it wasn't Boots necessarily underestimating Xander Zayas. You could tell he prepared properly for the situation. However, in Boots' head, he knew that this motherfucker wasn't on his level, so he was going to go and show him. And what Roy is trying to say is that the first round was so fucking easy, hitting him with whatever he could hit him with. And, the second round was much more of the same that, Boots was like, oh, man, this shit easy work now. And Boots was saying in the lead up to the fight, I'm going to do whatever I want to do in the ring. So maybe he just got to that point where it's like, you know what? I'm going to take this approach. And that approach ended up costing him a round, I guess you would say. And now he's being criticized, for that one moment. So both of these guys are coming from a good place. You know what I'm saying? Both of these guys are, making, solid points. But I'm not going to lie to y'all. I am leaning more towards Roy in this one because Roy seems to understand Boots' mentality more than Andre Ward has. Like Boots' mentality to Andre Ward is foreign. With Roy Jones, he identifies with it because he's had a damn near identical approach when being in the ring with elite level competition. And with Andre Ward talking, he's making it seem like Xander Zayas isn't elite in his own right. You can't do that against elite guys. So a unified champion in one of the most deepest divisions in the sport of boxing isn't an elite fighter. Xander's not elite at 154 when he won world titles back to back. If not, then who is? Virgil Ortiz, who's never won a world title? Sebastian Fundora, who gave up a title to not fight Xander Zayas? I don't understand.
Get a little like this, you start trying anything.
So my opponent, right? My opponent get to dictate my mindset depending on how they fight, good or bad.
Well,
talk to me.
I dictate my mindset. If it's that easy, then I can try all kind of stuff. I can try anything I want to try because it's so easy. So yeah, I dictate that too. And he dictated that. It was easy. He dropped in the first round. He got up. He beat outboxed in the first round, outboxed in the second round. So he's like, well, this is easy. I can try this and I can try that. Now you can't try all that. He is still dangerous. So you got caught being lazy and being lackadaisical and trying stuff, It's like I thought he switched at a bad moment anyway. He was doing great from one side, still on that side. But he switched because he thought it was that easy. And that happens.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah. I think you always got to be reaching in this game. It's always room for improvement. And, I say this with love with Boots. That moment is getting a lot of attention because he is an elite guy. How elite, we don't know until he fights these certain type of fights and he's in these moments and he's got to keep coming out on top in these moments time and time again. Time will tell, history will tell how great Boots Ennis ultimately becomes. But the eye test and all the stuff you see, man, he's elite. And when you have an elite guy like that with that kind of pedigree, from that kind of background, with that kind of trainer, you got to keep you never satisfy. Elite guys don't sit up here and be like, oh, that was just a little, I just had a moment.
He wasn't satisfied. He got mad. He got mad because he said he ain't satisfied. I wasn't either. But
so why you not mad about it then? Why you not mad about it, right?
I was mad about it. I was mad about mine, and he mad about his. So why I'm mad about it? Because he wouldn't see the reason I ain't mad about it because I know he know what he did wrong. So he know how to fix that now. He know exactly what he did wrong. He said it himself. So he can fix that now. That's the easy fix. Don't go to sleep. That's the easy fix. I tell you what, put Virgil Ortiz in front of him and watch he don't go to sleep. Watch he don't go to sleep against Virgil Ortiz. Because if he goes to sleep against Virgil Ortiz, Virgil gonna show enough come at him. I guarantee you, put somebody like that in front of him, and I bet he don't go to sleep. And I put what they want to put on it. I guarantee he won't go to sleep. Now he might not win, but he won't be because he went to sleep. He won't go to sleep against Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah, I love Roy, man. How could you not like Roy, man? Andre Ward said, so why you not mad? So why you not mad? He like, what the fuck I gotta be mad for? I was mad when it happened to me. He mad that it happened to him. I'm not mad at him because he knows what he did wrong. So he's bound to improve from that. So yeah, man. Roy talking that shit. And I think Andre Ward is like attempting to ignore the fact that Boots is taking accountability. It's like he's pressing the issue with Boots, pressing the issue with Boots. But at the end of the day, it's not like Boots is saying, "No, I wasn't. No, that didn't happen. No, I still, man, I fought a perfect fight." Boots ain't saying none of that. Boots is upset with himself. He made that very clear. So if he's holding himself accountable, what anybody got to be upset about? He won at the end of the day. Do you feel what I'm saying? He reassured us he's gonna go back to the lab to improve. What is there to be upset about? Were you that upset with Shakur Stevenson when he let off the gas against Artem Harutyunyan? Did you were you upset with Shakur Stevenson when he let off the gas against Teofimo Lopez? You know what I'm saying? How about the Jeremiah Nakatila fight? How about the Edwin De Los Santos fight? Were you mad at Shakur Stevenson for him under delivering? Come on, man.
I tell you, because that's a higher pedigree. That's a guy with a better background, with a better past, with a better track record, with a guy that he knows if you go to sleep, he gonna beat you. So he not gonna go to sleep with him. I promise you he ain't. Some kids, see, this is what I like about boxing. Some guys in boxing you train, it's like they're like Aaron Pryor. Aaron Pryor never gonna go to sleep. He got so much energy, he just stay wide open all the time. You understand me? You got a guy like Sugar Ray Leonard who know how to stay wide open, but if it get easy, he'll go to sleep too. He has gone to sleep a couple times like that because that's just what they do. We got so much stuff we can do if it get easy and we don't knock you out right away. I mean, we're going to keep doing our thing, but we call that sleep because that's just calming down, being normal. You understand me? So when we come down and be normal and don't be trying to do nothing crazy, in our mind, that's going to sleep. Because for me, that's why I loved Ali. Ali stayed on you, stayed mentally on you. He never went to sleep because he going to joke, talk, but he kept himself awake by all the things he did. All the antics he did kept him awake. Most of the antics I did kept me awake because if I start doing antics, I know I got to be on my A game. If I just go out there and just box, I'm not going to be as sharp because that's not who I am. I need more. I got to be doing something where I feel like I'm in danger. Now,
bro, imagine being that fucking good, bro. Because I'm gonna tell you, I wasn't no God gifted fighter, not at all. You know what I'm saying? I had some good abilities, I had some great physical attributes and all of that, but I wasn't a God gifted fighter by any means. But bro, did you hear what Roy just said? This nigga Roy was so fucking good. Shit was so easy to him that he felt like the only way that he could stay on point is if he showboated or if he did some flashy shit or if he did some risky shit. That was the only way that he felt like he could stay on point mentally, as if he gambled in there. Because if he just took it serious, it'd be too easy and the shit would be boring for him. Can you imagine? You know how good you gotta be to be able to do some shit like that in one of the most, if not the most difficult sport in the world, bro. Roy was a fucking GOAT, bro. Roy is a fucking GOAT. This nigga just said that the shit was so easy for him that the shit got boring, and that's when he would have his mental lapses. So he would do dangerous shit in the ring in order to stay focused mentally. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. And I think Boots does much of the same. I really think they cut from the same cloth, bro. Like that's crazy to me, bro. That's a different type of fucking gift.
I can stay awake. If I don't feel like I'm in danger, I'm probably going to get lackadaisical because I don't feel myself being in danger. That's just what guys that with that mindset do. Everybody's not like that, but guys that are like that, if they ain't got something to keep them going, they're going to fall asleep. I had to have something. Why? Hand behind my back, the shotgun, all that stuff just kept me awake. If I don't do those things, I would have went to sleep more. Because if I ain't doing that, I'm gonna get bored. I don't want to just box and beat you. I need to be doing something. I need to be entertaining these people while I'm beating you. That's what kept me awake.
I ain't going to sleep, bro.
I understand you different though. You was a different type of fighter.
Because you know that danger you talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I know if I take this loss, it's gonna be a whole lot of things said about me.
That's true.
Come Sunday.
That's true.
Right. That's me. if I lose this fight, my next fight, y'all gonna be trying to play with my money. Oh man, you lost, man. You know, you didn't come through. That's a danger to me. Having to deal with me going to sleep and letting you get a moment that you shouldn't have got, man, that's a danger to me. All them people sitting ringside with them laptops lighting up their face, they waiting to write. Tonight it happened. It finally happened. That's a danger to me. I don't need my opponent to do nothing. I'm coming in here. And I made a mistake against Kovalev. I didn't go to sleep. You just outwit me and you caught me before I caught you. I can give you that, but you paid for it after that. But I'm not going to give you nothing I'm not giving you nothing because I went to sleep and had a mental lapse. Brother, it's danger all around. My money on the line, my legacy on the line. I got to look my family in the face, whether I do good or bad after this fight. Them folks sitting there with their laptop waiting to say, is this the night? Is this the night? I got a whole team over there that's been plotting against me for 12 weeks, trying to figure out how to knock me out, trying to hurt me and put me in the hospital. That's a danger to me. That's enough danger right there for me to stay on point at all times. I don't care if you 0-12, 12-0, 20-0, 0-20. It's the same difference. If you 0-20, you come up in here with me, I'm going to treat you like that. If you 20-0, then I'm going to treat you like that too. That's how I get down. I don't do the highs and lows and the flip and switch on and off. I'm like this, and I'm trying to keep growing each and every fight. I'm trying to stay locked in because whether I'm fighting an elite guy, a mid-level guy, or a guy that ain't got no business in here with me, whether you gonna get the same Andre Ward every single time. And I think Boots Ennis has that in him. He's talking about it. He just has to rep this stuff. He's been 10 years of being better than everybody else. It's been 10 years. He's not been able, and it's not his fault. He ain't been able to be in a 50-50 fight or maybe a 60-40 fight or a fight with somebody like, bruh, this dude better than you, where he has to come up and elevate mentally the whole time. He hasn't had it in 10 years. Xander Zayas, as much as I respect him, as good a job as he did, as long as he did, Boots knew he ain't got nothing for me. So when you dealing with that, for 10 years, you always had your way. You psychologically continue to think you going to have your way again tonight. And even if you hit me, I'm going to be able to shake it off. You have to treat these dudes like they got dynamite in their hand. Don't tell me he ain't no puncher. You got 8 or 10 ounce gloves on and you trying to hit me in my head, bro. If you hit me right here, anything can happen. So I got to take my mind there when it's very easy to stay here and just feel like, well, you know, my offense should be enough. I'm not risking my legacy on should. I'm not risking my money on should. I don't think like that. And I don't believe
I understand
that Boots Ennis is accepting that. Right? Now all the people out there talking about, you know, trying to down Boots and minimize Boots, we're not going to minimize this performance either. This performance was what it was, and Boots did what he had to do. He turned up, he showed out, and now he off in vacation somewhere doing this thing, man. I want to give Xander a shout out too, and I'm gonna finish this fight because we got stuck on this 3rd round. We ain't got to the 5th round or the 6th round or 7th round. But you know, Xander, man, he took the fight, and
well, that was basically it right there, man. Definitely great back and forth. Andre Ward right there just explained the differences in the mentality between Roy and Boots and himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like, you know, what's a danger to me is, you know, being criticized by the media, looking my family in the eyes after I lost, that was a danger to me. You know, them preparing to beat me is a danger to me. You know what I'm saying? And Roy and Boots just don't see it that way because they just have a supreme confidence in their abilities and their preparation. You know what I'm saying? So what they found to be dangerous was, you know, them taking chances, not what the opponent is doing, but what they are doing. You see what I'm saying? So them gambling, them taking chances is what ultimately drove them to stay on point and stuff like that. So 2 totally different mentality, two totally different fighters. You know what I'm saying? It was a great conversation overall. Like I said, I was definitely leaning more towards Roy Jones because it just seemed like he was more experienced, or at least more qualified to talk about Boots mentality and understanding it, you know, ultimately identifying with it, to be honest with you. It just sounded like Andre Ward was lost and just stuck, you know, just presenting how the way he goes about things. But at the end of the day, we're not talking about Andre Ward. We're talking about Jaron Ennis. And, you know, although he did make up some, you know, put some great points out there that Boots, you know, needs to tighten up those mental lapses, Um, it just, I'm not gonna say that it's easier said than done, but at the same time, you know, Andre Ward feels like since he did it, that everybody else should go about it the same way. And you're saying that this dude has had this habit for 10 years, and you just ultimately feel like that's just something that's gonna get uh put to the side, and his next fight or two. It's a process. You know what I'm saying? But Boots is well aware of what he did. The mistakes that he made, and he said he's gonna go back into the lab and fix it. So I think that shit should have been dead then and there. But great conversation overall between Roy and Dre, man. I definitely love that. You know what I'm saying? It's a damn Roy should be a risk manager. I think he is low key behind the scenes when it comes to, I definitely think he be giving out game to the guys that, he fuck with. Like, Caleb Plant, Andre Ward got a good relationship. I seen him definitely going over some risk management strategies with Caleb Plant when he was getting ready for the Canelo Alvarez fight. I seen him going over, certain strategies with like Clarissa Shields. They had a little video that went viral. Slime said they said, man, Dre worked for OSHA. Yeah, he definitely do. That nigga is super cautious and calculated for sure. He definitely go by the book, and he's gonna go with whatever the is the safest approach. That's for sure. He definitely is OSHA. He definitely the OSHA of boxing. What the fuck is this nigga doing? This is dude. This is dude chopping away at something outside. This shit's super weird. Keep my eye on that nigga. But anyways, man, I think what we saw today was a former God gifted type of fighter go over his mentality with a hard work developed type of fighter. You know what I'm saying? And as a result of that, their mentalities clash, and it made for a great debate and conversation overall. Man, I enjoyed that very much. Shout out to Andre Ward. Shout out to Roy Jones. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what the people, they said Tank is outside. Oh, yeah, Tank is outside. Yeah, Tank was, nah. Y'all can hear that noise? Can y'all hear that? It's like he's breaking something. I don't know what the fuck he's trying to get though. That's what's confusing. He said Tank is outside. I wish he would be outside. That'd be the dumbest shit he ever do. That nigga he gonna be fighting a totally different fight. Fucking with me. Read my last comment, just my opinion on the topic. All right, let me see. Go 787 said, but we can't ignore that Roy Lapsus got him sparked too. I think Ward just want Boost to be as complete and sharp as can be. Just my opinion. Both guys are right on what they're saying, just different. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the general consensus overall. Now, in terms of that getting Roy sparked, I don't think his mental lapses is what got him sparked. To be honest with you, I think I think miscalculations is what got Roy sparked. I think him thinking that he could just cut into his muscle and go back into a different weight class after you know uh bulking up for heavyweight. I think a miscalculation is what ultimately led to his downfall. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's what it was overall. I think it was a miscalculation. Him thinking that he could do something that he ultimately couldn't do, and it cost him. You know what I'm saying? And even with that Antonio Tarver, when he got put out by Antonio Tarver, that was a 50-50 exchange. I don't necessarily think that was a mental lapse. You know what I'm saying? Uh, so that's what I think. And then, the Glenn Johnson fight, that Roy was already a damaged fighter by that time, man. So it is what it is. I don't think that's what got him sparked though. You feel me? Yeah, I just think that Ward think that one size fits all in terms of like his strategy and his approach, and not everybody's willing to take that approach. Like Ward had a real, it was a winning strategy, but it was a very boring strategy. And there's some people who uh are heavily reliant on having a front approach in order to continue enjoying boxing. If everybody takes that serious, if everybody takes that serious, no nonsense approach, bro, a lot of people just not gonna fuck with the sport anymore. Some people have to have fun. Some people have to take risks. You know what I mean? That's just how certain people are built or wired mentally. So, like I said, neither one of them were wrong, like totally wrong in my opinion, but you could tell there was definitely a disconnect between Andre Ward and Boots mentality because they have two totally different approaches in the ring. Like I never heard Andre Ward say, "Oh, I'm gonna have fun in there." I never heard Andre Ward say that. You know what I mean? His whole thing is, like my life is on the line. You know what I mean? I need to win by any means necessary, and I'm gonna do whatever it is I have to do in order to, get that victory. No nonsense approach, no fun. You know what I mean? All serious, no games. Boots and Roy, them niggas like to have fun. Them niggas like to be entertaining because that's what kept them, moving. That's what kept them grooving. That's what made them who they were. You know what I'm saying? I bet you if Jaron Ennis had like this serious, no nonsense approach that Andre Ward had, or we just dwelling in perfection and you know what I'm saying? Just be super cautious and calculated. Boots probably wouldn't be, in love with the sport all like that. You feel me? He probably wouldn't even find the sport enjoyable at that point. So, different mentalities. You know what I mean? There's definitely, like I said, I love individuality in the sport of boxing. I do appreciate different mindsets. You know what I'm saying? But it was a great conversation overall, man. But Andre Ward laid out some good points that I think Boost should definitely take into consideration. You definitely want to rep those things in the gym in terms of, staying sharp, staying focused, and not giving anybody any opportunities to possibly have a one-up situation on you. And Roy, what I mean? He definitely was optimistic about Boot's future. He said, man, once he gets in there with somebody who's actually on a higher level, what I mean, you'll see Boots change. So definitely some optimism from Roy, a lot of understanding and identifying on Roy's part, having a lot of firsthand experience with those type of situations. And Andre Ward just having that mentality where it's like, bro, you can't do that type of shit. You know what I mean? You in too dangerous of a sport. I mean, you don't want to come up short. To stand it up here, you have to perform as such. So I understood both viewpoints. What threw me off was how animated Andre Ward was. I never seen him that animated. And you know what I'm saying? It was crazy to see because I never really heard Andre Ward raise his voice. I never seen him like clapping his hands together. I never seen him, go, be so willing to debate. Roy Jones on the topic. Usually when Roy Jones usually going off, Andre Ward usually laid back and let him get his rocks off. But this one he was pretty much going toe to toe with him. So it was something he was definitely passionate about. Why he was passionate about it? Maybe it's because he fucked with Boots, or maybe it's because he just wants to join uh this negative narrative that's going around about Boots in terms of, him being chinny or, him not necessarily being chinny. I didn't hear Ward say that, but he lacks defense and he doesn't take his opponents serious and shit like that. I don't know exactly what Andre Ward's intentions are. I feel like they're good, but only Ward knows, unfortunately. But regardless, like I said, it was a great conversation. I don't want to keep repeating myself. Roy even said that was his downfall. Yeah, he cited two different fights. He cited the Lou Duval fight, and what was the other one? Damn, he just said that shit. He mentioned two fights. Rocco McBride said Ward lied and said you had to earn the shot on him, but he got lazy and got dropped bad versus Darnell Boone. Yeah, that's what, and I'm not going to use that point against him. He was young, up and coming in his career. I mean, maybe he learned a lot from that situation. But like I said, it's really hard for me to believe, just being a former fighter myself and, understanding fighters pretty well. It's really hard for me to believe that Andre Ward has never had a mental lapse in the ring because how the way he was speaking, you would think he never did. you can't do that. No, I never did. Like I didn't do that. I took everybody serious. And I don't know if you was 100% focused 100% of the time in the ring. Like I don't know. That's kind of hard for me to believe, especially when you know a nigga ain't on your level. You feel me? So I don't know, but it is what it is. That's they talk. Y'all got any questions before I get up out of here, man? I appreciate everybody that has come through and showed love, man. Shout out to everybody that's been contributing with the super chats. You know, Dimitri Banner definitely did his thing today. Highly appreciative of that. Slime said he got dropped by Kovalev, so I don't think he learned. I mean, the whole thing ain't necessarily about being dropped. He's talking about mental lapses. I think Kovalev set him up for that shot. So I don't think he had a mental lapse in that situation. But for me to like for you to tell me or at least put this notion out there that you've always been focused in the ring and you've never fallen asleep in the ring, that's hard for me to believe. You know what I mean? Ghost said, "Great live viewership keeps growing little by little." Yeah, I see it, man, and I'm appreciative of that for sure. A lot of it's pretty much the same people commenting, but a whole lot of people watching. So, that's dope. Let's get into some open boxing topics, man. I got a little bit of time before I call it a night. You know what I mean? We probably got another. My son keep trying to do purchase attempts on my fucking Amazon account, man. This kid is crazy. Thank God they be alerting me because I'd have went broke fucking with my son. He be trying to buy coins off these games that he be playing. He don't even be knowing what he doing for real. But like he'll try to purchase, like game coins and shit like that so he can keep playing this game. Crazy. Nah, we're not gonna call Andre Ward a woman now. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that, Eric. You tripping. Dev said, "Did you talk about the WBO mandating Dev versus Key?" No, I didn't, but I actually read up on that. So I think they have like 20 days to negotiate or whatever the case is. I highly doubt Devin Haney's looking to vacate his title whatsoever to fight anybody else. So I guess that's going to be the fight. I guess that's going to be the fight. You feel what I'm saying? So, Devin Haney versus Keyshawn Davis, that's a great fight for the welterweight division. I'm favoring Devin Haney to win that fight. I think Keyshawn Davis is going to be looking to be the aggressor. I think he's going to be looking to, step to Devin Haney, and I can just see Devin Haney, frustrating him with movement, a good jab. I think the hand speed and the foot speed is definitely is what's going to help him with Keyshawn Davis. But Keyshawn Davis definitely has the tools necessary to, give Devin Haney some problems. But considering, Devin Haney's size advantage, his world class jab, his quickness, good range, good range control and shit like that. Keyshawn Davis got a good understanding of distance as well. So that's going to be a very intriguing fight. That's going to be an enjoyable fight to watch as a boxing coach, as a strategist. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. I think Devin's experiences was gonna get him that though for sure. You think it's gonna be simple for Dev? I don't think so, man. Like Keyshawn got some skills, so there may be some moments where Keyshawn might, land a good combination or land a good body shot or whatever the case is. But I think Dev's discipline, his hand speed, his foot speed, his overall experience in the ring, I think he's gonna outpoint Keyshawn. I don't think he's gonna knock down Keyshawn or knock Keyshawn out, but I do think he's gonna outpoint him. I think he's gonna outclass him. Probably 8-4. You know what I'm saying? Probably like 8-4, if I had to guess. My boy Tricks in the building said thoughts on Usyk versus John Jones or Wilder. Heard Usyk might join Zuffa. I think it'll be absolutely pointless for Usyk to join Zuffa for what? When you vacated all of your titles and you let it be known that you only got one fight left, why would you join Zuffa for one fight? I don't really understand that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really understand why he would join Zuffa, but in regard to him facing John Jones or Wilder, I don't even know why we even talking about John Jones. John Jones isn't no fucking even during his MMA tenure, and I look at him as being the greatest mixed martial artist ever. I don't know him to be no boxer. You know what I'm saying? So what we even talking about? Now Wilder, you know what I mean? That'd be a good name to like end your career off with. So because that'll basically like be all of like the Infinity Stones, you know, of the top guys from the previous era. You fought Fury, you fought AJ, you fought Wilder, you beat all three of them. You pretty much took out all of the big, you know, you pretty much took out the big three of heavyweights that was going around before you came into the division. So Wilder would make the most sense. I think that'll be easy pickings for Usyk at this point in time. Um, but you know, I'm not really high on either one of those opponents. I would have much rather have seen him fight somebody like an EJ Kabiel. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it is what it is. He vacated the belt. EJ Kabiel is a WBC heavyweight champion of the world now, and that's just a reality we have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? But John Jones ain't necessarily known for his stand-up game or his boxing, you know, his hands. You know what I mean, that's more like like Anderson Silva was known for his hands. You know, GSP was known for his hands. You know, he had some good boxing. You know, Ilya Taporia is known for his hands. Conor McGregor was known for his hands. Sean O'Malley's known for his hands. Like John Jones is not one of them. John Jones is well-rounded. You know, good kicks, good, you know, good wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. But no, don't nobody want to see Usyk versus John Jones. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. Yeah, Max Holloway, absolutely. Yeah, Max Holloway is known for the hands too. John Jones ain't never been put in that category. So yeah, they said Ilya's a wrestler, but he adopted a different style. You know what I'm saying? And he took a more stand up approach. So yeah. That boy Ralph in the building. Ralph said after Fundora fights is mandatory, which isn't even his mandatory, by the way. He's the number one guy, but he's not the mandatory. He's gonna bring Tony Harrison back after for a defense. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. I think Fundora and them they plotting on Earl Spence, man. They hoping that Earl Spence beats Tim Zoo so they could go ahead and fight each other. You know what I'm saying? 2027. That's what I think. I think they plotting on Earl. I think they're trying to keep this shit in house for as long as they can. You feel me? I think Earl will get an opportunity before Boots. So Boots just need to go ahead and lock in on that Josh Kelly fight. You know what I'm saying? I think Boots just need to go ahead and get that Josh Kelly fight, get that third belt. You know what I'm saying? If Fundora is still acting funny in 2027, let's go ahead and fight Virgil, man. Go ahead and get that fight popping with Virgil. You know what I mean? Virgil should be back by then from what I'm understanding. And then, you know what I mean? You could probably go to 160 after that and see what's going on with them. Or you could just continue dominating 154, fight a Jamel. You know, Jamel still, you know, popping his shit. I mean, you could make a lot of big fights at 154, man. Nah, Earl, I don't think Earl watches Fundora. Not right now. Earl's mentality really concerns me. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like I've been listening to interviews from Earl, and you know, there's some people who struggle with retirement in boxing. I mean, there's people who really struggle with it because you know they grew so accustomed to being fighters that when they retired, I mean, they didn't really know what else to do with their life. Earl figured out how to get over retirement quick. And you know, he developed, you know, he started prioritizing things differently. He grew a relationship with God. You know, he's real big on his family. He's big on going on vacations. You know, he developed different hobbies. You know, he playing soccer. You know, he's spending a lot of time with his kids. Like these are things that Earl Spence has grown to be satisfied with. You know what I'm saying? He got a ranch. You know what I'm saying? They say he got like different animals and shit like that. Like Earl's mindset has outgrown boxing. And when I heard that interview with Andre Ward, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm lying. Earl Spence said he only coming back because he was bored. That don't sound like a hungry fighter to me. That don't sound like somebody who, you know, is looking to prove something. You know what I'm saying? That sound like somebody who, you know what I mean? That sounds like somebody who had peace. And you can still be dangerous and be at peace. Like when George Foreman came back, he was at peace. You know what I mean? He found his relationship with God and all that. He ended up becoming heavyweight champion of the world again. But I don't know, man. Like, I seen Brian Mendoza was sparring Errol Spence, and he said that Spence is locked in. So I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'm rooting for him to beat Tim Zoo. But he said that he might retire after this one. So to me, when fighters are speaking about retirement, that's not a good mindset to be in. That 1 foot in, 1 foot out shit, that's a dangerous mentality to have in the lead up to a fight, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But I don't think he beats Fundora. I don't think at this point in his career he beats Fundora. Jay said if Spence watched Fundora has Lewis Crocker level of ass. That's crazy. That said, Mazuma, do you think Moses versus Benavidez in the future? I don't know, man. I can't really call it. I don't think David Benavidez is big enough to be a heavyweight. I mean, he might get a little fat and blow up to the heavyweight division, but I don't think he really built to be banging with them heavyweights like a Daniel Dubois or a fucking Egypt Cabiel. Like, I think that's a bit excessive for David Benavidez, man. I think his cap is cruiserweight, and even there, I think he'll have a little bit of difficulty, because these are bigger guys, and since David is heavier, he's gonna have to pace himself a little bit more. Because at 68, he could throw punches for 12 rounds straight. With Zordo Ramirez, I actually seen him step off the gas a little bit and pace himself. I mean, because when you have that additional weight, it takes more oxygen to flow through your muscles, and I mean that's a difficult pace to keep up with when you're 200 plus pounds. So I mean, I think David Benavidez is gonna cap off at cruiserweight, man. I don't think he want anything to do with heavyweight. Moses is a full-fledged heavyweight. I think we need to start speaking about Moses Atama, matching up with the guys who's currently at the top of the sport. You know what I mean? Instead of talking about Moses versus Benavidez, we should be talking about fucking Moses versus Daniel Dubois. We need to be speaking about Moses versus Frank Sanchez, who the IBF just ordered, him to fight. The vacant IBF title or whatever the case is. Is Moses Atama gonna fight for the vacant IBF heavyweight title of the world? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of smoke at heavyweight right now that Moses could, indulge in. I don't think David Benavidez should even be somebody who's being brought up. David was only 196 on the scale. Yeah, he's too small, man. But you know what it is, man. When people do phenomenal shit, they just want you to move to the next division, next division, next division. I mean, because in reality, they just want to see you get humbled. They want to see you get beat. You know what I'm saying? And if David went up to heavyweight, fought Moses Atama, Moses Atama put hands on David. Oh, man, I don't even know why Dave did that. He was too small. He was too small. But y'all was rooting for him to go to heavyweight as if he was big enough. Shit don't be making any sense, man. This nigga said Honduras, Alexis, Texas, levels of pussy. That's crazy. Yeah, we don't need to see any heavyweights, elite heavyweights fighting David Benavidez. Like, that's crazy. That don't even make sense to me. I mean, like, he started at 168, bro. Like, niggas not Roy Jones going up beating on John Ruiz and shit like that. John Ruiz, no disrespect, but he was nowhere near an elite level heavyweight. So Roy was able to, get away with that. But elite heavyweights, David don't got no business being in the ring with. Cruiserweight is the cat. Ain't nothing wrong with being a 3-division champion. David versus Usyk. And David could beat Usyk. Man, leave Usyk the fuck alone. This nigga don't even want to box no more. What are we talking about? Zordo is better than John Ruiz. David did it better at 200. Yeah, but there's no John Ruiz in the heavyweight division right now that has a world title. So I don't even think David should even entertain that. David could beat some of the heavyweights. I don't want to see him there. You know what I'm saying? 175 cruiserweight, man. That's it. Let's talk about Jai Opetaia. Let's talk about, Dimitri Bivol. Let's talk about Artur Beterbiev. Let's talk about those fights. Those fights are the fights that, make sense in my opinion. David could beat Frank. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Who would I say is the cash cow of boxing now that Tank fell off? I don't know, bro. I don't be pocket watching these niggas, bro. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some popular fighters in the sport of boxing. Boots' popularity is going up. Canelo's still around. And from what I know, Canelo always been the cash cow. Everybody say it's Tank. It always seemed to be Canelo to me. Um, Tyson Fury getting to a fucking bag up there. Anthony Joshua still getting to some money up there. Uh, Devin Haney's popular. Shakur Stevens is popular. I don't know what these dudes getting. To keep it real, I don't really feel like outside of David Benavidez, I don't really think there's like a definitive cash cow right now. To me, David Benavidez got to become undisputed at cruiserweight before going up to heavyweight. Yeah, but even then, I don't like. By that time, David might be in his 30s, so it's like, I don't want to see David at heavyweight. Simple and plain. He's not big enough, y'all. Like, yeah, y'all pushing it. And David don't got like those Roy Jones like abilities. You know what I mean? He got fast hands, but he ain't like that type of athlete that can make niggas miss by a centimeter and like, nah, bro. Better Beef been throwing shots at Benny. I was hoping we got that fight. I don't know what's going on with that, man. Like, one side saying one thing, the other side saying another. I would not mind seeing Artur Better Beef versus David Benavidez, but you know what I'm saying? I thought Better Beef and Bivol was going to do a trilogy, but now fucking Bivol got another injury. He got to get surgery. And then when he come back, he fighting Callum. Who he fighting? Callum Smith, a nigga who ducked Benavidez too. Like, I don't know, man. David just can't seem to get them fights for shit. These sanctioning bodies throwing all these funky ass mandatories on these guys. You know what I'm saying? Bivol gave up a title not to fight the nigga. Now he walking around with the title, but nobody really want to fight for the title with him at like heavyweight. Better Beef talking shit, but he ain't stepped in the ring since he lost. I don't know. And he in his 40s. Nigga was like, Artur Better Beef a dinosaur in this shit right now. But whatever. You said when Tim Tszyu stops Errol, what's next for him in your opinion? Fight Jamel. Fight Jamel. Y'all supposed to fight each other anyway. Fight Jamel. I wouldn't mind seeing Tim Tszyu versus Jamel Charlo right now. Jamel got to get a fight. Like, what the fuck? Like, this dude been popping all this shit, doing all these interviews, saying he'll do this to that person. He's still that guy. But the motherfucker can't get a fight to save his life. Everybody getting fights except him. And it's about to be 3 years that this motherfucker ain't rumble. September, I think it'll be 3 years. Is he going to fight before September? Jamal Charlo been staying more active than you. Catching charges and all. Why the fuck are you not in the ring? I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, I love the fact that niggas is loyal to Al and all that. But if niggas ain't getting me fights, bro, I'm dipping. Like, I appreciate everything you did for me, bro, but I'm not about to sit here and waste my fucking career because motherfuckers don't got shit lined up for me or the money ain't straight, bro. The money ain't straight. I'm going somewhere else. Fuck I look like. Either you gonna give me your blessings or I'm gonna just do it on my own, bro. Yeah, I don't know. He must have pissed somebody off at PBC the way they got him sitting the fuck down. Jamal not even sitting down like Jamal. He must have really pissed somebody off. By the way he fought against Canelo or something. We just gave you all this fucking money and you fought like that. He probably sat his ass down, locked his ass up and threw away the key. So it looked like to me. But anyways, man, I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody that came through and show love as always. If y'all can go ahead and hit the like button on the way out, that'd be very much appreciated. I'll be back at y'all with another live tomorrow night around 10:30 or 11 Eastern Standard Time to continue cooking up what's going on in the boxing world. Until then, hope you guys have a blessed, beautiful one. I'm up out of here, man. Peace.